I'm Georgie from Jamie Oliver's food team, and I'm here to talk to you about herbs. So herbs tend to be in two sections, the soft ones and the woody ones. So softer herbs are literally really soft, and the woody ones sort of tend to be a bit more robust in their texture. So we'll talk about soft herbs first. Here we have chives. Chives look a lot like grass, and they're part of the allium family, so they actually smell quite oniony. They've got a lovely flavour and a really interesting texture. They're quite unusual, and they're great if you sort of finely chop them and put them through salads. With all soft herbs, you want to add them to dishes at the last minute. You cook with them for a few minutes. They wouldn't, flavour or perfume a dish from the beginning, really. Something like chives, finely chopped, in a garden salad is absolutely perfect. Here we have mint. This is my favourite of the soft herbs. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think it lends itself to sweet and savoury dishes. And here you go, these lovely pretty leaves here. Again, mint is really versatile in salads, and it's used globally. So you find it often in Middle Eastern cuisine, in tzatziki, in yogurt. You literally find it everywhere. It's really universal and really versatile. Over here we've got coriander. Coriander is fantastic, really fragrant. The stalks are really delicious too. So if you're using it in something like a curry, a wonderful thing to do is chop up the stalks really fine, and then you can put that into the base of your dish, and that will add loads of flavour too. And then you keep the herbs afterwards, and you can use the leaves to garnish and just stir it through at the last minute. Here we have basil. So this is Greek basil. This is normal basil that you might see in the supermarket. Greek basil, the leaves are just a little bit smaller. They're very pretty. They're really intense, incredible in salads. And here is just your normal large leaf basil. Basil's similar to coriander in that you can use the stalk. You should absolutely, if you have a bunch of basil and you want to cook with it, I would pick off this tiny little leaves and use those to garnish just because they're so sweet and pretty. But again, the stalk has loads of flavour, so you want to finely chop that, put it into the base of a tomato sauce. You're making something Italian, making a ragu. Finally chop it and fry it with your garlic into the base. Add the tomatoes, and then you finish with the leaves at the last minute. You stir in the big leaves, and then you can use these tiny little ones to sprinkle over your pasta afterwards. They're perfect. Then here we have parsley. This is curly parsley, something that almost feels like an 80s throwback. And then we also have some flat leaf over here. So the flavour's really similar with flat leaf and curly, but the flavour is almost a bit more intense with the flat leaf. It's really gorgeous to make like parsley sauce, with just a very beautiful piece of ham. You want to get loads of flavour from that. Chop it up, put it in a salad. And then we have oregano over here. So oregano is the Mediterranean version of what we call marjoram. Very similar. They're not the same, but they are very similar. Marjoram is a very old English herb. So here you have marjoram. The leaves are slightly smaller. And here we have oregano. So they look quite similar. You can definitely see similarity. It's not that dissimilar from basil. It's an incredible smell. And you find them in salads. It's quite an unusual soft herb in that you can cook with it. It wouldn't be wrong to fry it and put in the base of things, but you can also garnish with it. It's quite robust. So I would definitely chop the larger leaves, as it is quite pungent and you wouldn't really want to bite into a whole leaf. So I pick them, I chop them, put them through a salad. Fantastic. We have some tarragon. It looks very different to all the other herbs. It's a lovely long leaf. The tips are very pretty. They almost glow. And again, tarragon is great in salads, and it also goes really well with chicken. So it's fantastic if you're making a fricassee of chicken or a chicken and leek stew, something quite creamy, light, almost like a garden stew or soup. And if you picked the leaves off and you chopped it through and added it at the last minute, it would work wonderfully, especially something with a white wine base. That's fantastic. So here's dill. Dill's gorgeous. It's very pretty. And it took me quite a while to get into dill. It's quite strong for a soft herb, and I didn't really fully appreciate it until I went to Sweden. And when you have it with salmon and in their salads, it's just incredible. It goes really well with fish, so fish stews, but you can use it in salad as well. Again, you'd add it at the last minute. You can pick off all the lovely fronds. It's very pretty. It's great if you're making gravlax or you're curing salmon. Works really well. And then finally we have chervil, which is very soft. It's a very little pretty herb. It almost looks like a tiny parsley. And again, this is very English, very garden. You would pick these lovely little fronds and you could put them in a salad. You wouldn't really want to cook with them too much. They're very, very soft, but they're very sweet as well. So that's our soft herbs. Over here, we have our woody herbs. We've got bay, thyme, rosemary, and sage. And the beauty of these herbs, they tend to last longer and do well in the winter months and the colder months. Bay is great. I've always got a bay tree or bay plant in the garden. You don't really have to do very much to it. It kind of looks after itself. And they're just brilliant for adding to slow-cooked stews, broths, soups, stock. Just a brilliant way of infusing flavour. If you rip up the leaf, you can really get the best from it. Over here, we have rosemary. Again, another lovely woody herb. You wouldn't want to use the stalk for rosemary. Something like this, you'd pull off all the leaves. It's very, very woody. It's almost like a twig. In a way, that's great if you're making things like skewers. It's really good to pull all the leaves off and then use them as you would like a bamboo skewer. And then you can put fish on it and chicken, and then you get the flavour from the inside, and it's fantastic. It goes really well with lamb, but it goes well with all meats. And as long as you pick the leaves and you fry them, it goes well with roast chicken. You know, you can use it with beef, anything really. It's very versatile with meats. Then we have thyme. Again, thyme's got a very, very woody stalk. And in the same way with rosemary, you just want to hold the top and pull from top to bottom, and you get the leaves there. Same again, fry them when you're making the base of a stew and release the oils from the leaves and then cook them really slowly. Thyme's also very, very versatile. It goes really well with chicken, but you can use it with fish, you can use it with anything. And then we're left with sage. Sage almost looks like it could be a soft herb in that it's much softer than the others. You would definitely want to cook sage, you want to fry it, you want to get it crispy. The lovely big leaves mean that when you fry them in oil, they go really crispy, almost like little crisps. And it's great with pork, absolute winner with pork, but also squash. Like if you're making squash pasta or gnocchi, it's lovely to fry those leaves and you can garnish with it, and they add incredible flavour and they crisp up really, really well. Same again, you really wouldn't want to use the stalks, but you can use it to flavour other things. But yeah, it's where the leaves are where it's at. You can dry them, and the easiest way to do that is to literally just take a bunch, just tie little knots, and then just have them drying like that on the side. And over time, they'll sort of dry out. I've got some over here. So this is just a little one. And that's rosemary and thyme. But that still works just as well in cooking with stews and things, and you'd add it the same way at the beginning. With the dried rosemary and thyme, I would probably use a bit less if you're going with dried herbs. You can buy them in the supermarkets dry. They tend to be a lot more flavoursome. And that goes also with the soft herbs. I wouldn't dry them at home. We don't really have a climate to sort of keep them out in the sun and dry them, but you can buy them in the supermarket. You can cook with them for sure, but they tend to be a lot more pungent. So this is dried mint. And I mean, it really smells really intense, so you'd only use a tiny amount. So be careful when using dried herbs.